All right, we're live. Um, Leanpub Friday live stream. Hey, Len.
Hey,
All right, so what are we going to talk about today?
well, we can talk about our recent monthly sale that just went out this morning. We have a monthly sale newsletter that you can sign up for, and it goes out to I think over 150,000 people now,
Yeah.
which is great for all of our readers and for all of our authors too, because their books are featured in there if they opt into sales or do sponsored book spots and stuff like that. So it's really a great way of connecting readers and authors to
hmm
help them discover each other, which is just awesome.
Yeah, and this one we emphasized a few things in this monthly sale which are kind of new and kind of connect really nicely. So yeah, I'll share my screen and let's just get into it. Presenter invite, share screen, window, boop. And yeah, add to stage. This is the new drinking game. Peter forgets to add to stage. Okay, so here we are. Monthly sale. So if you're on our monthly sale, as I said here, scroll down. We have so many wonderful things in this. So many wonderful things. So yeah, as Lynn was saying, sponsored deals. The way you show up here, by the way, is by buying a spot on the shelf on Leanpub. If you just go to Leanpub and you're like, marketing packages, then if you're I'm not signed in, so I can't do it. But if I am signed in, then today you can get a spot on the shelf that way. So okay. Brain's not working.
I'm going to try to put the monthly sale in the comment here. Let's see what happens. We're still getting used to this.
Yeah, we're iterating. And here's the link to the daily sale we sent out today. I'll see if this works. Boop. Oh, come on. StreamYard is sharing a window. Yeah, I know it's sharing a window. Okay, so monthly sale. So the super neat thing about the monthly sale, I'm echoing, by the way. Could you put AirPods on? It's really annoying. Okay, so yeah, the most important thing in this, besides, hey, here's how you get in here, is by buying a spot on the shelf. So this is really neat. We have an AI service on Leanpub called Course AI. And what Course AI does is it helps authors create courses from their books. Now you don't need to use Course AI. You can just go to their menu and go create a course, and then you just put in the name of the course. It can be like how to use StreamYard, and then blah 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 blah, and then I create an account and sign up for a plan there, and that's it. You don't have to use Course AI. However, if you've written a book and you're like, man, I really wish I had a course, then you can just go to Course AI and just click a button now if you're signed in, and then you'll have Course AI. Now, what is good about that? Well, Course AI takes your book and makes it into a course. Now, books are priced a certain way, typically $20, $30, $40 on Leanpub, typically like $3 to $10 on Amazon KDP. Like there's expectations in people's minds about what does a book cost. On Leanpub, the expectation is $20 to $40 with discounts on our sales. On KDP, the expectation is between 99 cents and $9.99. And Amazon works like super hard to get that expectation. To be clear, if your book is $10, they pay you half the royalties than if your book is $9.99, because they really want people to price between $2.99 and $9.99. At Leanpub, we love our authors charging $20, $30, $40. We want them charging as much as they can, because our authors write these really valuable technical books, and people are going to get way more than $9.99 of value out of that. Some of our authors write really, really, really good books, and they're also really dense and really a lot of work to learn everything in the book. And that type of book is one of many types of books that's perfect to make into a course, because a course is more interactive than a book. Like when you're reading, basically with the chapters of a book, we turn them into lessons in a course, and each lesson you get exercises throughout, and at the end you get a quiz. And so this way it helps keep you engaged. You're not just going to go off on your phone and start doom scrolling or get distracted or play computer games or whatever. You need to actually focus and pay attention and get through the course. And that's super valuable. sorry. Another thing that's valuable about it is companies are happy to pay for people to do courses at work. But typically, if you're just sitting around reading a book, someone's going to be like, hey, why aren't you working? And you'd be like, I am working. It's like, well, I get it. I'm, a developer, but like lots of managers be like, no, you're reading a book. But if I'm doing a course, it's like, oh, great. HR is probably happy that you're doing your course budget for the year. So there's value. There's a number of reasons there's value in making a book into a course. And another one is that talk about is like we've courses like on the internet. Lots of people expect video in the courses, and so Len, you've been doing an awesome job with videos around these. So do you want to talk about that with the most recent track that we've done?
Yeah, sure. So what we've done is we've so the courses. So we've made a track, which is our term for a sort of set or bundle of online courses that you can buy all at once. This one is AI themed. The one of the books in it is by Andrei Burkov, who's a sort of well-known author of the 100-page machine learning book and the 100-page language models book now. He's a PhD in artificial intelligence, lives in Quebec City. Really, really smart guy. I think he's got over 100,000 subscribers on his on LinkedIn, and he was one of the first people who was doing LinkedIn, was invited to do LinkedIn newsletters. So he's a really great communicator. So then that second book is AI in a Nutshell by Henrik Nyberg, which is a really great book based on a viral video that got like 2 million. A really great video that he made that got like 2 million views, which is just like a kind of like, imagine a really smart person, technically minded, who's trying to talk about just what's day-to-day life like with generative AI now. And then the third book is Patterns of Application Programming with AI by Obi Fernandez, a best-selling author some of you may be familiar with. And that book is like some pretty groundbreaking pretty groundbreaking ideas that Obi developed in the last couple of years working with AI. And like working with AI, it's kind of hard to explain. It's not like using AI. This is not about, in a sense, kind of using AI to help you program, although that is a very important thing that we discuss, or that he discusses, but it's about like basically using AI in your software. You'll know what you mean if you get the course, what I mean if you get the course. And so this is all really great content. A lot of it's really hard. You will, like, for example, if you take Andrei's course, you will learn about how LLMs work, starting with the mathematical definition of like a function, and a model, which is great. But one thing we thought would be a really good way of kind of enhancing the value of these courses was to have at the beginning of each or most of the lessons, which is the sort of course version of a chapter, is to have a video, a podcast style, sit down, casual video of the author and me talking about the issues relevant to that lesson and to that course. So in between each lesson, you can kind of take a break, relax, and watch someone really smart talk to me about stuff that they understand really well, and get to ask and get to sort of hear not only questions about what's in the course, but questions around it. Like, it was fun to get to ask, Henrik, what's your greatest fear for the next 10 years of AI, and what's your greatest hope for the next 10 years of AI, and things like that. So those high level questions are also really interesting. And there's 2 to 3 hours of these interviews with
per
each
course.
Per course with each author. And they're exclusive videos to people who buy the courses. So you'll only get, you'll see social media clips and stuff of these videos, but to actually watch the videos all the way through, you need to get the course. And we really think that it adds a lot of value to the courses and makes them more entertaining, and kind of like, it's kind of like, again, like imagine like at the beginning of every lecture at university, you actually got to sort of at your own leisure kind of watch a fireside chat interview with the lecturer.
Yeah, and the super valuable thing there, as far as I'm concerned, is like these interviews that you're doing with these authors are about like the sort of why is this important, not like, hey, just teach me the stuff in the lesson. It's teach me why I should learn the stuff in the lesson, which is a big deal, because then that way you can sort of take a break, take a breather, watch something fun, get motivated, and then do the lesson. And the nice thing about this track is like these 3 courses together sort of take you from like beginner to expert. Like you go from like, what's generative AI all the way to like understanding like the real depth and understanding patterns. And so, yeah, this is super cool.
The
Go ahead.
one interesting thing, if you ever wondered how fun it is to be a co-founder of a book publishing platform online, you know, I get to do research on all these things by reading cool books by cool people and then asking them interesting questions that are interesting to me and to other people. It's a pretty cool job. But I get to sort of like, I just did one with another Leanpub author on a book on the foundations of computing, where it's kind of like going into the details of what a Turing machine is. And then that like the morning before, I was talking to Henrik about like taking pictures of his breakfast with his phone and asking, is the bacon done, to ChatGPT, and extrapolating that to kind of more interesting things about how AI is going to change our lives. And I just wanted to say one thing about that. While editing all of these videos and stuff like that, it really felt like I felt really old, because I am. But it felt like watching a couple of people talk about the internet in like 1989. Like, is the internet safe?
Right.
Is the internet going to take over the world? What can we use the internet to do? Like, we're really in that moment now. And no, many people watching this won't remember that time. I was pretty young then, but like these questions of safety and how it's going to be used and blah blah blah, and Henrik in particular, his conclusion is it's going to be, we're asking these questions now, and it's important to keep asking them going forward, but like it's going to be as normal as using AI is going to be as normal as like going to a website or something like that in short order.
Yeah. Now, just pivoting back to like sort of Leanpub focus a bit here. That's really cool. And before I do, it's funny. I listened to the Founders podcast. I'm a big fan of it, and that reminds me of how he talks about Jeff Bezos always talking about like day one type of thing, and like blah blah. I was actually in computer science when the web, like I was in like the mid '90s. I was in computer science, and it was like the internet, the web was coming out. Like Mosaic, blah blah, right? And it's like Netscape Navigator Gold Edition, right? So, yeah, it's crazy how things go from like this weird thing to like everyone's using it in like a few years, right? And so we're in the same type of thing now, and there'll inevitably be some like, I was in the Valley when the .com boom popped, and you could drive like, the 101 had like half an hour or less traffic, like from San Francisco to San Jose. Like it was just crazy, like the effect of it. But like, if you're talented, everyone talented was fine. Basically, even after the bubble popped, like, it was just like everyone who sort of came to get rich, like lots of people left, but like basically you want to learn the technology. It's super important, and it's super early still. I know it might feel like, I remember there've been so many times in my life when I've been like, man, I'm too late. The amount of times I thought I was too late for something, when it's like, oh no, you're not too late. Like there's a whole fucking decade ahead of it, like in this area, right? Sorry, I need to keep this PG rated probably. But anyway, you're not too late to learn AI. You're not too old to learn AI. And it's like deciding that you're too late to learn the web in 1995 or 1998. And then if there is a correction, it still won't be too late to learn AI. It's like, for example, if you decided in 2002, the web was a fad, forget it. That would be just as stupid as if like say NVIDIA goes down in one day and everyone's like, oh, that's it, it's over. It's like, no, it'll be totally fine. This is here to stay, and this is like as big as the web was, bigger, I think, than the web was 25 years ago. So this is the time to learn it now. But anyway, back to Leanpub. I want to talk about tracks and courses and books, because this is something that's super interesting. And I think I am so happy that we added courses to our platform a number of years ago because of this moment today. Because if you think about it, what you have is you have an amazing author who writes some amazing books on Leanpub, and one of them is like, hey, this should become a course. And so we worked with Andre to make it into a course, the 100-page language models course. And then Len went and recorded 3 hours of video with Andre to take that course from like the Course AI course into like a Course AI plus all these like sort of fireside chats. And then we did it again 2 more times, right? With Henrik and with Obi. And it's like, then we have these 3 AI courses, and they're all the same sort of 3 hours worth of fireside chat videos with Len. And they're all, but then you sort of look at it and you're like, huh, somebody should buy all these. And it's like, yeah, they should. And they should actually buy all these courses and do all the courses and then get a little certificate being like, I did all the courses. And that's another thing that, like, tracks just aren't bundles. They're bundled with benefits. Like, you get, when you're done doing the courses, each course you get like a certificate saying like, I did the course. And then at the end of doing that, you get a certificate here saying like you did the track. And so if your company is like, I need you to like upskill in AI, then you're like, well, hell yeah. I'm going to go to Leanpub and I'm going to do the AI masterclass track. And here I am, right? Instead of going to some nonsense workshop for a couple of days, learning about Agile for the 100th time, like at a workshop, like, I love Agile and we use it every day, but you don't need to go to a workshop to explain Scrum or Kanban, like if you already know Scrum or Kanban, compared to, hey, there's a track right now that is like, this is going to take you from like not knowing much about AI to knowing a heck of a lot about AI. And at the end of it, you've got a certificate. And the neat thing is, when you think about the value Leanpub provides to our authors, you go from a book, which is like a normal Leanpub book, like at normal Leanpub book prices, and then you turn it into a course, which is at normal Leanpub course prices, and then you stack that course with other courses, you make it into a track, and now it's at normal Leanpub track prices. And this is this founder's price, which is like, and I'm serious about this, it's $249 until September 3rd. And after that, it's going up and it's never going to be this cheap again. It won't be this cheap again in our Black Friday sale. It won't be this cheap again in our Boxing Day sale. It'll never be this cheap again. So if you think this is a good thing to buy, get out your credit card or your company credit card and buy it. But yeah, and this whole founder's price idea, we're going to be doing this with a number of courses and tracks that, like, a number of courses for sure, and hopefully a number of tracks. For example, in our recent daily sale newsletter and our monthly sale newsletter, we have links to 2 more of these things. So Microservices Masterclass by Dave Farley and the Quality Coaches Handbook course by Anne-Marie Charrett. And so, whoops, I shouldn't pull tabs out because then I won't be screen sharing. So Dave Farley, he's got a course. Again, now the neat thing about this course is it was kind of course AI, but it was also this other service that we built basically because we think that this is like sneak peek, but basically if you're a podcaster or doing YouTube videos, you should make Leanpub courses or Leanpub books. And so this course was built, as Dave says right here in his video where he explains what is this course. It's out of his YouTube videos. So Dave's made hundreds of YouTube videos, and this is like sort of 15 really targeted things all about microservices fed into the Leanpub machine, which transcribes everything, then runs it into the course, makes a course out of it, and makes a really good learning experience. And at the end of it, you have, again, a certificate like, hey, I learned this thing. And so taking something and just, making something that is actually worth the money out of stuff that is, scattered all over the place and focusing it. It's really cool. And then do I talk about Quality Coaches Handbook course?
Yeah. So Anne-Marie Charrett is an Australian, she's in Australia now, Australian author who wrote a book called The Quality Coaches Handbook, and this was then transformed into a course. It's really interesting. It's basically if you work at a company that produces software services and products, no matter what level you're at, no matter what your role, this is a really good course to learn from and to take. Anne-Marie knows what she's talking about. She's worked at all sorts of levels herself and in all sorts of roles. And it's basically the idea of how do you make sure everyone on the team at all levels, again, is sort of focused on quality in the correct shared way. So that not everybody's just kind of doing their own thing or maybe kind of taking on too much focused responsibility for quality or offloading too much onto testers or something like that. It's the idea of having a sort of culture of quality, but how you can actually do that with like practical examples, like how to certain kinds of workshops, things like that, whether you should do workshops or not, how you can tell even sort of details like very hard won knowledge like that. it's interesting too. One thing we talked about in the videos that we did for the course, the video conversations, was like, how has SaaS changed quality and the approach to quality, which is very interesting, and people's expectations. And then of course things like continuous delivery, which, you know, Dave Farley could tell you all about. You know, this just basically how, in addition to sort of what you can do, it's like there's a little bit of history there about how kind of like quality assurance came into existence and has changed over time, particularly in software and software platforms. And that's as varied as, you know, like, I mean, Anna, if I recall correctly, works in things like healthcare and finances and telecoms and stuff like that. So we're not talking about like, you know, other types of things here. This is kind of serious, regulated, huge organizations. But she also talks about things and how they work at the startup level as well. So it's just a very useful course that way.
Cool. Yeah. And again, this thing also started as a book. So here it is on Leanpub as a book. And so if you're like on your own and you're like, I don't want to pay all the money for the course, get the book. But if you're like, hey, I'm at a company, get the course, here you are. And again, we're using this founder's price approach here. So until September 3rd, $79. It's never going to be this cheap again. And then, yeah, the suggested price is $179. So if you're like, hey, I'm at a company and I totally want to just pay the suggested price, then pay the suggested price. And yeah, okay, super cool. So yeah, that's all in our monthly sale, which we sent out today. All these sponsor deals here, featured deals. Oh, and one other thing we should talk about briefly, which is this new thing we're doing, Quick Start. So I mentioned this in our monthly sale. This is obviously also, this is for Leanpub. This is for people who want to be authors, you know, or have considered becoming an author at some point. So we'll talk about this in our author newsletter we send out in September. We'll talk about this a few more times and talk about some other stuff. But basically, one of the things with Leanpub is like this power tool. It's, you know, it's freemium. Like as an author, you can use Leanpub for free. You can also pay money if you want like advanced features, but like you can use Leanpub for free and we give you all this amazing stuff. But it can be a bit kind of hard to get going. You might be like, well, what do I do first? And what's Markdown? And, you know, should I be using import mode or should I be using plain text browser mode? What's Markdown? How do I get my Word document in here? You know, like, etc. And so you might not know how to get going quickly. And so the idea that we had is, okay, well, we want to be helpful. Len and I are genuinely helpful people, and we want to help authors get into our platform and use Leanpub. And so this is a thing where basically if you get the quick start, then what it is basically you look here, you go, okay, this is interesting. I can sign up, pay $249, which is like, sounds like a lot of money for an hour. But here's the neat thing. It's either myself or Len helping you for an hour, get on, like literally, if you want, we'll sit and help you import your document into Leanpub, or we'll just give you the tour of the UI and talk about like how you should be approaching things and yada, yada, yada. But at the end of it, the entire $249 is a credit that you can apply toward one of these things. So for example, our lifetime standard membership costs exactly $249. And so if you were like, hey, I was planning on getting, and that's true as of August 29th, 2025. If you were thinking about getting a lifetime standard or pro membership, they'll probably be more expensive in a couple months when we ship our next version of the platform, like V3. We haven't raised our prices in forever. We're probably going to look at our pricing a couple months from now. So if you were like, oh, I'm not sure if I should get a standard or a pro lifetime membership, if you get one now, it's never going to be cheaper than now, and it'll quite possibly be more expensive. So if you're like, hey, I think Leanpub's amazing, I'm going to go get this author quick start, I'll get help, I'll get up and running, and at the end of it, I'll be like, yeah, I'll just get a standard membership. Literally, the session's free because a standard membership costs exactly $249. Or if you get a pro membership, it's $349, so it's a $249 discount, so it costs $100, blah, blah, blah. You can also take the fee and apply it toward like publishing. If your book is done, you can like apply your fee toward like publish on Amazon once your book gets published, or Course AI or Translate AI. Translate AI is interesting in that it's buy one, get two free now. So you can like translate into 3 languages for the price of one, and it's like $149. So if you do this, like literally you can get like 6 languages for $300. So it's like, you know, for $298. So it's like $50 to get 6 languages, or you could just get 3 of them, blah, 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 blah. Go ahead, Len, you were saying something?
So one thing I would say too is that one of the reasons to do this is, you know, the way Leanpub works, we only succeed if you succeed. And writing a book, we were not going to be experts in what you're writing your book about, or if you're writing a novel, we're not going to, be able to offer a lot of plot advice or something like that. But writing a book can change your life. Writing a book can take a lot of time, and then getting attention for it, getting an audience for it can take a lot of time. If you spend an hour at the beginning of that journey talking to someone who, knows the platform and knows this world of self-publishing, it will save you a lot of time for sure, and potentially help you reach that audience, build that audience a lot sooner than you would otherwise. The other thing about this is that, like, there's nothing like talking to authors for discovering what they need and how things are changing on the ground and how your own service can be improved. Like, so it's a pleasure to us to talk to people about this kind of thing. And yeah, like, it's kind of like, there's an old thing in academia, but like, if you get an article published when you're in undergrad, that means you get scholarships in a better school for your master's. And then that means you get more papers published because you've already had one. And then there's like this sort of like kind of, there's a curve, and things that you can do at the beginning of, and that's just a specific example, things you can do to up yourself at the beginning of a journey can actually have a kind of effect like that on how you succeed in the long run.
I mean, we're called Leanpub. Like, we're called Leanpub because Lean Publishing, but Lean Publishing connects to the idea of Lean Startup. But Lean Startup, Eric Ries's Lean Startup ideas connect to Steve Blank and Eric Ries, Steve Blank, and, talk to customers, right? So we know a lot about Leanpub. We've been working on it for a long time, but we learn from our customers all the time. We learn like what's important to them, and also what are we not explain. Like if people have questions that they ask you directly over email, then we learn, we still haven't explained this very well, or this is unclear, or this could be done better, or whatever. But like talking to customers, like, this is basically a way for us to talk to authors who are serious about doing Leanpub well and help them get going faster, but also we get to learn from it, and we get to make the product better, and we get to help you get going faster. And again, the cost is basically a way of making sure that you're serious, and it's a filter. But we want basically serious authors who want to succeed on Leanpub. And the entire thing turns into a credit, which can be like a standard membership or shelf spot or whatever. So, I think this is going to be a useful thing to do. If you're on Lean, if you're like, where is that on Leanpub? You just go to our little hamburger menu, and then you're like, author quick start. There it is. And then button click. All these buttons go to the same place. They just have different words, just because, variety. But yeah, so I think we should probably go. Do you have anything else, Glenn?
Nope.
Cool. All right.
Okay.
End of
Thanks
live stream.
everyone for watching.
Thanks, guys. See you next week.